The clock read 2:14 a.m. when Maya was woken by Noah's sharp, desperate cry piercing through the silence. Her body, heavy with exhaustion, moved instinctively toward the crib. She scooped him up, whispering soft words as she gently swayed back and forth in the dim glow of a nightlight. The small apartment was quiet except for Noah's whimpers and the soft creak of the rocking chair beneath her. Her eyes, drawn by habit, found the photo on the side table, a worn image of her husband in uniform, smiling beneath desert sun. He had never held his son. He never got to hear his laugh, or see the curls forming on his tiny head. Maya reached out and touched the glass frame, her fingers trembling. A lump rose in her throat, but she swallowed it down. Tears could wait. Outside, the world slept, unaware of the quiet battles being fought in that little room. Inside, a mother held her baby with the weight of grief on her shoulders and love in her arms. The silence wasn't just the absence of sound. It was the presence of something deeper. She looked down at Noah, now drifting back to sleep against her chest, and whispered, "I rise him alone, but I will rise him strong." It wasn't just a vow. It was a promise stitched from pain and courage. In the quietest hours, when no one was watching, Maya was shaping a life, not just his, but her own too. Rain poured like a curtain over the grocery store parking lot, turning every step into a shallow splash. Maya held Noah close to her chest, wrapped in her coat, shielding him from the cold wind. Her shoes were soaked through, her hair stuck to her forehead, and her hands trembled, not from the weather, but from the weight of it all. Inside the store, under the buzzing fluorescent lights, she stood at the checkout line clutching a can of baby formula, a small pack of diapers, and a handful of change. She counted it out once, then again. Still short. $2. The cashier, a teenage boy, barely looked up. "You're short," he mumbled. Maya's face flushed with quiet panic. She looked down at Noah, who stirred lightly in her arms. Her mind raced through options, but there were none left. She whispered, "Can I come back with the rest later?" The boy shrugged, indifferent. Store policy. Just as Maya started to turn away, a soft voice behind her said, "It's covered." An older woman stepped forward, rainwater dripping from her coat. Her eyes met Maya's with a kindness that was almost too much to bear. She placed a gentle hand on Maya's arm and smiled. "You're not as alone as you think." For a moment, Maya couldn't speak. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Thank you." Outside, the rain still fell. But something inside her lifted, a quiet reminder that even in the storm, grace can still find its way in. The apartment was still, except for the low hum of the refrigerator and the faint ticking of the wall clock. It was nearly midnight, and Maya sat at the kitchen table, her back aching from another long shift cleaning hospital floors. Her hands were raw from scrubbing, her eyes heavy with sleep, but she stayed awake, laptop open, nursing textbook filled with highlighted notes, a cup of lukewarm coffee beside her. Noah, now a toddler, slept peacefully in his carrier at her feet, his little chest rising and falling in rhythm. Maya glanced down at him often, drawing strength from the quiet presence of her son. She rubbed her temples and clicked "Submit" on her final nursing exam, heart pounding. The screen loaded slowly, almost mockingly. She held her breath. Then, the words appeared, "Congratulations. You passed." For a moment, she just stared. Then the tears came. Not loud or dramatic, just a slow, quiet release of everything she'd held back for so long. She reached down and picked Noah up, holding him close to her chest. He stirred but didn't wake. "I did it, baby," she whispered, her voice trembling. "We did it." She rocked him gently, resting her cheek against his head. "Every night I wanted to quit, every shift that broke me, you were the reason I didn't." In that tiny kitchen, beneath flickering lights and fatigue, Maya didn't just pass an exam, she crossed a threshold. From surviving to becoming. From hopeless to unstoppable. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the elementary school playground as children laughed and chased each other through the grass. Maya stood near the gate, watching Noah from a distance, her hospital scrubs still creased from an early shift. He was 6 now, taller, confident, full of life. She noticed him sitting beside a classmate on a bench, pulling something out of his backpack. It was his lunch. Without hesitation, Noah unwrapped his sandwich, tore it in half, and handed one piece to the other boy, whose head was lowered, eyes glassy. Maya watched, curious. Later that evening, as she unpacked Noah's bag at home, she found the untouched snack she had packed, the one he usually loved. She knelt beside him as he colored at the kitchen table. "Hey, sweetheart," she asked gently. "Didn't you eat your lunch today?" He looked up, not ashamed, just matter of fact. "I gave it to Ryan. He lost his backpack and didn't have any food." Maya blinked, surprised. "That was very kind of you. Why did you do that?" Noah smiled, shrugging. "Because you always say we share what we have, even when we have little." Her breath caught. She reached out and hugged him tight, brushing his curls back. In that moment, she saw something so much deeper than good manners. She saw the values she had fought so hard to instill growing inside him: kindness, empathy, selflessness. He wasn't just growing. He was becoming. The auditorium buzzed with excitement, the air thick with pride and the scent of fresh flowers. Rows of families filled the seats, phones held high to capture every moment. Maya sat in the front row, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, her heart thudding in her chest. Noah, now 18, stood tall on stage in his navy blue cap and gown, valedictorian sash draped across his shoulders. He stepped to the podium, cleared his throat, and glanced down at the paper in his hands. But then he paused. He looked up, straight at Maya. "I had a speech prepared," he began, voice steady, "but today, I want to talk about someone who never got the applause she deserved." Maya blinked rapidly as the room fell silent. "My mom." He smiled, eyes wet. "She rose me alone. After my dad died before I was born, she didn't have much, but she gave me everything. She worked nights, studied during the day, and still found time to hold me, guide me, and teach me how to care for others." He held up a folded paper. "This is a letter I wrote to her." He read, "To the woman who rose me alone but never let me fall. Every win I've had is because you carried me when I couldn't stand. You weren't just my mother. You were my strength. You were my miracle." The crowd stood in thunderous applause. Maya wept silently, smiling through her tears. In that moment, she realized, she didn't just raise a boy. She raised a good man.